In this video, you and I are going to go over the 5 best exercises to grow your glutes. But if you choose only 3 of these and focus on getting better at them every week, you're still going to see amazing results. Or if you switch out an exercise, like instead of doing hip abductions, you do cable glute medius kickbacks, you're going to see way better results within your training. What's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Ted. So your glutes are made up of 3 parts. You have your glute max, your glute med, and your glute minimus. Now you'll see this red line right here pointing to another muscle called your piriformis. This is important because if you're doing an exercise right now like hip abduction machine, you're going to be primarily hitting your piriformis and not your glute medius, which is what most people think you're hitting during this exercise. But your piriformis is the main mover when you're in hip flexion and doing hip abduction, which is exactly what you're doing when you're sitting down doing that hip abduction machine. So if you need a switch for that exercise to more optimally hit your glute med, exercise number 4 is going to be your best bet for that. So let's now hop into exercise number 1 for growing your glutes. First up, we have RDLs. Now I'd recommend trying out dumbbell, barbell, and trap bar RDLs and picking whichever one feels best for you. This is an amazing exercise for growing your glutes. So how are you going to do this exercise for the best results? It's all about leading with your hips. So pretend there's an open door behind you and you have to close it with your ass. You're going to go down, pushing your butt back and keeping the bar as close as possible to your body while keeping a slight bend in your knees. And then when you go down, when your butt stops going back and you reach about mid shin or up to your knee, that's when you come back up, when your butt stops going back. For most people, that's going to be around knee level or mid shin. Exercise number 2 is the hip thrust and the cast glute bridge. So with the hip thrust, make sure you have a bar or a pad or something under the bar, or else you'll never want to do this exercise again. But then make sure your feet are also not too far forward or too far back. So when you fully contract your glutes and you get to the top of the movement, right, you want your shins to be perpendicular to the floor. So if they're too far forward, you're going to be hitting more hamstrings. If they're too far back, you're going to be hitting more quads. So make sure that when you're at the top of the movement, your shins are perpendicular to the floor. You will have to play around with this and get used to it to find that perfect positioning for you exactly. Also, make sure your toes are pointed slightly outward so you could achieve external hip rotation. And then you're going to want to keep your chin tucked and looking forward or down during the entire movement. You don't want to be looking up, or else you're going to be probably arching your lower back, which is not going to be optimal for getting a full glute contraction. And then when you get to the top, make sure you hold it for at least a second before going back down. Now the cast glute bridge is an also amazing glute builder. It's a little bit different than the hip thrust, but it's almost the same. So you can do it on the floor or on a bench like you're seeing in this video right here. And the main difference is the range of motion, and you're not thrusting anymore, right? It's not a hip thrust, you're not thrusting at the top. You're just slowly contracting your glute and then holding that for 1 to 2 seconds before going back down. But if you go too far down, you'll know because your shins are gonna break perpendicular. They'll start coming back. You want to stay, your shins want to stay perpendicular to the floor the entire time you're doing this exercise. Exercise number 3 is going to be the rear foot elevated split squat or the Bulgarian split squat. Same thing, they're just called different names. Now with this exercise, you're going to want to choose an object that has your, when you're going down at the bottom of the movement and that back knee is touching or almost touching the floor. And then when you go down, you want to think about your back knee, whatever knee is up, whatever foot is up, you want to think about that knee going down and back while keeping all of the weight on your planted foot around heel to midfoot. And then also something else to consider in this exercise is make sure that when you go down, your knees are not going over your toes, because that's going to make this more of a quad dominant exercise. So make sure your knees are not traveling over your toes during this exercise. And then when loading this exercise, you can either hold 2 dumbbells like I am in this video you're seeing right here, or you could hold 1 dumbbell on the same side of the leg that you're working. So if you're working your right leg, hold the dumbbell in your right arm. This is going to ensure that you're fatiguing the muscles we're trying to hit, your glutes, and not fatiguing your core. Exercise number 4 is going to be glute kickbacks and glute med kickbacks. Now, if you're a regular at doing this hip abduction machine, and unless you like it, if you enjoy that exercise and you enjoy that machine, then keep doing it. But if you're doing it for glute gains, then I'd recommend subbing that out for these 2 exercises. So first up, glute cable kickbacks. So place the cable to the lowest setting and then either use a cable strap, ankle strap if your gym has it, or you could just use a cable handle and put it through your foot and have it resting on top of your shoelaces. And then you're gonna put your hands on the side of the cable machine if there's handles there, or just hold on to the cable column and just put your hands there. And then you're gonna bend over and kick your leg back, keeping a slight bend in your knee. And then you wanna make sure you fully contract your glutes without hyperextending or bending your low back to get an optimal contraction to grow your glutes. Now with glute medius kickbacks, you're gonna wanna place the cable machine at the lowest setting, strap in with an ankle strap, and then you're gonna wanna put your hands on the side of the cable machines again, right? Or on the column, but you're gonna wanna sweep in a diagonal motion instead of just straight back. With regular cable kickbacks, you're gonna go in a diagonal motion. So you're hitting your glutes and you're hitting your glute medius. And this is way more optimal than doing the hip abduction machine. And now exercise number 5 is gonna be the glute focused leg press. So when you sit down in the leg press machine, you're gonna wanna put your feet high and close. And you wanna have your toes pointed slightly outward. But one thing to note is you don't wanna go so high that when you start going down and start the descent, that your butt and low back is coming completely off the pad. So you wanna find that perfect position for you. But again, you do want it to be higher than normal and you want your feet close. So they should not be wider than your hips or shoulder width. If you have weak glutes, your lower back is gonna take over in a ton of exercises. So having stronger, bigger glutes is gonna help you if you have low back pain. So train your glutes if you're a guy. If you're a girl, you probably already train your glutes, but this is your sign. If you're a dude watching this, train your glutes. So if you choose just 3 out of 5 of these exercises, I know there's actually more than 5, but 5 main exercises and then a couple variations to each. So if you just choose 3 of these and focus on getting better at those every single week, I guarantee you're gonna grow your glutes and you're gonna get great results. So let me know down in the comments if you enjoyed this video and what you wanna see next. Like the video if you found value from it and subscribe if you're not already.